Hey, hi everyone. So, in this video, we are going to guesstimate the number of microwaves sold in India in a year. This particular approach can be used for finding out number of AC sold in a year, number of cars sold in a year, number of washing machines, refrigerators, etc. So, your approach will be the same. However, question can be anything. Let's start with the population of India. So, population is 1400 million. I'll segregate it into urban and rural. Now, rural population, I'm assuming 70% and urban population as 30%, which gives us 420 million of urban population and 990 million of rural population. Now, I'll further bifurcate these basis the income category. Within urban, I will categorize into high income, mid-level income, and low level income. High level income 10%, mid level income 40% about, and low level 50%. Similarly, I'll divide the rural into high income, mid income, and low income category with the division as 5%, 10%, and 85%. Now, since microwave is not a common household item, it's a luxury. Given that, I'll assume and ignore the mid income category of rural area and low income category of rural area. I'll still consider the high income category of rural area but take very low percentage. So now this gives us 10% into 420 million gives us 42 million of high income category. 40% of 420 million about 150 million. Low income about 210 million, and high income category of rural population, so this will come to around 50 million. Now I'll try and find out the number of households, but before finding out number of households I need to know the average number of people in household. In high income category I'll assume it to be 4, in mid income category I'll assume it to be 5, and in low income of urban population I'll assume it to be 6. For high income category people in rural area, I'll consider that the average number of people in a household is 5. Now, basis this, I'll find the number of household. So, what I'll do is, I'll divide 42 by 4 and I'll get 10.5 million. Similarly, I'll divide 150 by 5 and I'll get the number of households for this, which is 30. I'll divide 210 by 6 and I'll get 35 million households for low income category. Similarly, for high income category of rural population, I'll divide 50 by 5, which gives me 10 million. So once I have the number of households, I'll now check for the microwave penetration per household. For the high income households, I'll assume that 100% of the households have one microwave. For mid income category households for urban area, I'll assume one microwave for about 60% of households. For low income category, I'll assume that they have one microwave for about 30% of the households. And for the low income category, for the high income category of rural area, I'll assume only 5% of the households have one microwave. Now see, as I mentioned, in high income category of rural area, I have taken very low percentage, only 5% of microwaves of households have microwaves. If you want, you can ignore this entire section and make your calculation easier. Number of microwaves in households. 10.5 into 1, I'll get 10.5 million. mid income households having one microwave per for 60% of the in 60% of the households. So I'll multiply 30 into 0.6 and I'll get 18 million households, million microwaves. Okay. Now for low income category, I have 35 million into 0.3, 10.5 million microwaves. Now for low income category, I'll get with similar calculation, I'll get about zero point 0.5 million. Now I'll sum up all these three and I get approx 40 million microwaves. Now remember, up till now, I have found out the existing number of microwaves in a household. Now we have to find out the number of microwaves sold in India in a year. So for that, we need to start with the existing number of microwaves in households. So now we need to consider two things. One, replacements, basically number of microwaves bought because of replacements. And second is normal growth. So for replacements, first you need to assume the lifetime. So I'll assume the lifetime of a microwave to be 10 years. So I'll divide the number of microwave currently in household divided by lifetime. So this gives me 40 divided by 10, 4 million. So 4 million of microwaves will be bought by the households because of replacements. The other factor that I'm going to assume is of growth. Microwaves bought due to growth. Every year there's a certain growth and I'll assume it to be 5%. You can assume whatever you want, but assume a number which is practical. You can't just say that it'll grow by 80% or 90% or 100%. So now, basis growth, the number of microwaves that will be bought, that will be sold would be 40 into 5%. This gives me 2 million. So now I'll sum up these two, which gives me 6 million. So the number of microwaves sold in India in a year comes out to be 6 million. So let's recap. We started with population, bifurcated it into urban and rural, looked at which category of households or income category could actually afford microwave, what is the penetration. We found the number of microwaves in households basis that, and once we have those number, we looked at number of microwave that would be sold because of replacements and because of growth. You sum that up and you get the final answer. That's all for today. Thanks everyone.